And we are back. Mindful with Chimche, the podcast. I said last week that I was not going to let Femi go. So he's back. He's back here. And we're having this conversation. And now, this conversation is two friends talking. That one where it was two life coaches speaking. This one is two friends talking. And Femi, I'm going to let you start on this one. Go.
Oh, this is an interesting part because, like I said in the last episode, I said the secret of people is in their story. Mm-hmm. And personally, I'm more comfortable with people that their life tells their story. If your life is telling the story, not in details, but then I can look at you and just know a bit about you from the story you are telling with your life. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like to do with my life. I've looked at sometimes people see people like us and they think that we have always been like this, and then we never had a down moment. He's always strong, that guy. But they don't know that we've had moments where I remember in 2020, I cried the most. There were times in 2020 that I was just alone in the room, in a corner, just at the edge of the room. Mm. And I was just crying. And guess what I was just saying? I was just saying, Daddy. Ooh. And when I think about these things later, I was like, Daddy. And I figured that I needed the Father's love that I never had from my biological father. And one of the things that many of us we do as men is we cover our wounds a lot. There is something called the father wound. What most men are grappling with right now is the father wound. And the father wound, the reason why it is rarely healed is because it is rarely discussed. We don't talk about it. So, but simply because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it is not there. So it manifests, especially in our marriage, how we treat our children. And this is why you have a lot of passive-aggressive fathers. I know someone who has never taken a walk with his son, and his son is 22 years old. Wow. He does not have any relationship with his son. So when we traced it down to his family line, we discovered that his father was even worse. His father was a terrorist to all of them. So that vicious cycle of dysfunctional parenting, he has sustained it with his life. So all those times I sat down in that room crying for hours and calling Daddy. And I heard a voice that night. After this happened to me several times. And there was a conversation. I believe you were talking to me. And that conversation was, why are you asking or crying about Daddy? I can't forget this experience. And that voice told me and said, okay, how did you survive everything you've been through in life as a lonely child, a lonely boy? I was there with you. I was there with you. How did you survive, in and out of Nigeria, trying to figure out life, and do you think that you met traveling out of Nigeria and going to different countries? I established families in different countries effortlessly. And in all these countries, I have someone I can call right now that is like a father or a big brother, and then, and many of these guys, there is someone I have right now. There are like 3 of the people I can call fathers now or big brother now. They're like ministers in their countries. I was like, do you think you are so special that they just saw you were shining so bright and they just became close to you? You think they opened their doors to you because you are so special? No, I was there with you. I know that you are not so lucky to have that father love from a biological. And a boy either gets the father love or he gets the father wound. So if you don't get the love of the father, you get the wound of the father. So I had a lot of those moments, but then luckily for me, because I was open to healing, I was just tired. I was like, I want to be healed of all this. And then, that healing process began. I've told you, the first time I was suicidal in my life, you were the one I told in 2012. I remember calling you and telling you, I want to, just get go with. And what you said to me that day was, okay, so when you do it, what happens? I said, yeah, I'm dead. I don't feel anything again. It's gone. And then you said to me categorically, you said, so what will people who looked up to you as a strong person, what would they say?
Oh,
you
wow.
said,
Is that that?
if you commit suicide, you have not just killed yourself, you have also killed all those people.
Okay,
and that's what you said.
I see that. 2012. I see that. And I raise you this. When I was telling you that, Femi, I was in the middle of mine. I was
Wow.
yeah. So when I was in the middle of mine, my son was just turning 1 at the time. I was in this deep dive of postnatal depression. Of course, I didn't even know what it was at the time. So again, I tapped into, like you said, that strength that I want to be there for people. I want to just serve people. And I'm sure you are just called in one of those frequencies. I was just in that point. And, I see that daddy questions and I raise you female daddy wounds. I'm an only girl. I'm a first child. And my dad died when I was 42. And I sought my father's approval till the age of 42.
Wow.
Of course, there were times when we had conversations. I think he just also had there were energy clashes. I have a lot of his energy, like resilient, will fight to the end and all that. So that energy always clashed, apart from his own personal things. But my father made certain decisions concerning Tumishi that were very heartbreaking. And for those who I can't go again, like I said before this conversation, I'm still a Yoruba girl. I'm gonna honor him. I have my brothers also. It's still their story, and he's their father also. But I had this daddy wound. Shy. I can't even. Let's start from secondary school. After secondary school, my father did not think it was an okay thing for me to go to the university. And even eventually when it came around about 2 years after, he was insistent on what I was going to study, though I didn't have an idea what I wanted to do with my life anyway. I didn't have, both from my mother and from my father, someone asked me what you wanted to do with your life. I'm telling you, I can't remember anybody standing in front of me, what do you want to be in the future? I never, ever got that question asked. Now, my mother, though, said when I was about 5, 6, 7, I was watching Julie Coker and on NTA, and she said I stood in front of NTA of the TV, and I said, I think I can do what Julie Coker is doing, and I walked off. It's the only evidence I had in my life that I was going to ever end up, but that somebody said this is what you should do with your life, or this is how you should be in your life, considering also that my parents' response to the sexual invasion was very unfavorable, and I had shut down. So there was no relationship. Like you said, there was no relationship with anybody. There was no relationship. The only relationship I think I tried had, and I'm still doing, is to keep with my brother. I love my brothers with everything inside of me. And I think it's because I just don't want my brothers to end up like other men. So I'm like extremely, so daddy wound until 4 days before he died. 4 days before he died. It's 42 and 4 months. When he passed, and then we went to him and we're talking. Now, let me give you a backstory to that. You and I will understand this. He died on Wednesday. The Thursday before that, I had come to see him. He was and I said to him, what is holding you back? You are in too much pain. I don't like this pain. And then I went back home the Friday, and I was just, and that was the year Elevation and Maverick City released the church, the old quiet church or whatever, church in the basement, whatever the title is, and Jaira was playing constantly. So I stood up, went to the bathroom, and I was coming out, and I heard. Ṣebí torí ń pé ogbonju mo bàbá ẹ ló ṣe lè sọ pé èèyàn kan ṣe bákan fún ẹ. Go and release this. What? And like, okay, for those who don't understand, what you said, what the voice I heard was like, it's just because you grew up to know that you had a father, you have a father. That's why you can complain about how he treated you. Does that, now, let me put this well before it does not excuse anything. But like you said, the responsibility, to not live in that pain is on me, not him. Or not anyone who's caused me pain, because they are the ones who have the problem, and they have shedded that problem. The person who molested me has shedded their no lack of self-control with me. And am I going to agree to that and continue to live on that frequency? Oh, hell no. The person who was not a good authority figure to me has done it is the person who has a character issue. It's not me. Have they some way shared it in some frequency into my life? Yeah, but then do I agree with it? Oh, hell no. But there was a time, of course, when like you said, I was asking so many questions. Why is everything happening to me? I never, I don't think I felt guilt, and I'm not sure I felt shame either. I just wanted to know why, and it's been a journey, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and being in that place where you think that the end, to end it is the solution can be both what's the word I'm looking for now? Both liberating and also a burden. And I think it's the reason why in all of my attempts, like, the burden of, what's the burden I'm going to leave behind for those who thought to me she was this, and then they just hear. But then it's also it was what took me to the point where I had to go seek help when insomnia is still, me and sleep are still not so friendly, but that time it was really bad. And so my question to you will be, what are the tools that helped you to manage this and navigate this overwhelming sort when you were going through G? Of course, we know faith is, even science says that people have something to put their faith on their hope on, helps in mental healing and all that. So what were the tools that helped you to navigate your mental health questions?
I think let me begin by saying that it is important to always acknowledge the fact that there is, whatever you want to call it, God, creator,
the supreme being. Yeah.
That supreme being wants the best for you. That supreme being is your best friend, because we are here for a purpose. And that we all came here with an inside information. I always talk about it.
Go ahead. You just took me somewhere with inside information.
Yeah. It's almost like this is injected in our DNA. Like there are informations and datas. That's why you ask yourself sometimes, how did I survive this? How did I do this? There was a prompt to do something, you did it, and something happened. There was this strength that you cannot explain that came, from nowhere, but it came from inside you because it is in you. It is innate. They always say that everything you need to succeed in life and to overcome is in you. Now, is connecting to what is within. Now, life sometimes, because of the things we have been through, challenges, would now, produce an imposter in us. Second class version, like the second class version of who you truly are. And a lot of us, we now start living our lives based on that imposter. So we silence the authentic version of who we are, and we start living by that imposter. So, because there is no way we will connect to what is within us. It says the kingdom of heaven is within you. If you find it, then you will know yourself. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So I believe that there are some informations and resources, divine database, in the reservoir of our soul. There was a time, the second time that I was suicidal, it became so serious when a very close friend of mine wanted to send an audio to some people, but he mistakenly sent the audio to me. And the summary of the audio was, I saw Femi today, he's finished. When you see him, you just know he's finished.
Ooh.
And this was a guy that, he had benefited from my benevolence at several times. But at that point in my life, I actually looked finished. So he was right. So he wanted to send the audio to someone else because I asked him for a job. I said, if you can get me something, since I came back to Nigeria, help for me. And he said, yeah, I will get back to you. But he now made a voice note and he wanted to send it to people. That he sent it to me. Maybe he sent it to other people too. But I listened to that voice note and then I downloaded it. I converted it to MP3.
Ooh.
And I got an headphone because at that point I was depressed. I was so nonchalant about my life. I was suicidal. I was in a state of apathy. I was not feeling anything again. That same day, because of that thing he said, I listened to that voice note repeatedly overnight. I beg Femi, when you see him, say you don't finish. That guy is finished. Yeah, he asked me for a job now, but me, I don't think give him any job, but he's finished. I don't know people where they pursue, going down can affect me. I listened to it all through the night for 6 hours. I was sleeping and I was listening to it. The next day when I stood up, the first time in 9 months, I'm a fitness person, but in 9 months I did not engage in any fitness thing. That was to show you that I was really, really in a bad place. The next morning as I woke up, I took my sneakers. I wore my sneakers, wore my hood, started playing. There is this Christian music. Hallelujah. You have done something.
Hallelujah.
In the morning, that was the first song I saw on YouTube. So I downloaded the song and I started listening to the song and I was jogging around my estates and I was saying to myself, I am Femi Jubal, I am not finished. I can't count the number of times I said that. I am Femi Jubal and I am not finished. I am Femi Jubal and I am not finished. Do you know that was what began the new phase of my life? Total freedom from, seeking validation. That was in 2020, the COVID year. Trying to seek validation, suicidal thoughts, depression, and I started doing that and I started working out again. And I noticed that my life there was an improvement. I started growing and growing and growing. And here I am today. So it is important to connect and get rid of that imposter. And then you are able to reach deep down into the reservoir of your soul because there are informations there. Sometimes external informations, external entities might be the trigger for you. Not sometimes, most of the time. That's why I said that. How you respond. I was telling someone yesterday, I said, based on the people I know in government, and I have all these ideas, they can take me to the president's office. But I've spoken to two of them. They did not say yes or no. So when people say no to me, my brain kicks in and starts looking for alternatives. I don't sit down and start thinking people are terrible, they are bad. My brain kicks in because I have gotten rid of the imposter. And it is very important because the strongest form of frequency is the authentic frequency. Science has proven that authenticity is the strongest form of frequency. So it's very important to vibrate that, to emit that authenticity. And when you do that, it will kick off, a new journey.
Yeah.
For you.
Can we take a break now and talk about the effect of exercising on your mental health? If there's anything that has saved me, if there's anything apart from my faith that has saved me on this journey, is the fact that my to-do list every day is prayer, meditate, journal, take the communion, train every day, every single day. What saved me? What saved me in, I think, the last attempt was the fact that that day was my rest day from working out. Now, between 2017 and 2019 November, I had put on 30 kg because of medication and that messed, and I couldn't work. So I couldn't even I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And then my friend and I went to Dubai in end of October / November of 2019, and I was struggling to use the belt. And I said to myself on that day, we got to Dubai, we're working, I started walking. I got back and I said, hell no. It's not going to happen. Hell no. It's not going to happen. I didn't say anything to my husband. I didn't say anything to my doctor. I stopped medication. I'm not advising you to. No, so I'm going somewhere. I'm not advising you to give your medication. Please, please, please. Because I got back on medication. So I stopped my medication and I started to work out. I started to work out because that's the only time I found out. Though now medication still impacts on my metabolism and my weight is not where I want to be, but I have found that when I'm running, when I'm working out, I know the medical terms for endorphins, dopamines, and all that, but for me, it is meditation.
Yeah.
For me, it is meditation. It's just like you said, you put your headphones on and you're running and you're telling, it's as if with every strike of your foot, you are saying to yourself, I am not, I am this. That's, exercise, yes, if you want to lose weight, but trust us when we say it impacts heavily on your mental well-being. I was listening to, so how did I navigate? Stop, breathe, notice, reflect, resolve, reflect, respond, and resolve. That's how I came about the book, because I'm a deep feeler. I can't take that away from myself. I used to apologize for it, but not anymore. I'm a deep feeler. Enter a space. And then it either gives me, the negative energy or the positive energy. And sometimes, at some point in my life, I was feeding the negative energy again for someone who's on the spectrum of bipolar, and I lived more. I'm bipolar 2. I lived more on the depressive. So negative energies I would take easy, But then I began to ask myself, why did I attract this? Why did my spirit attract this? And I will stop. I'll take a breather to analyze the situation, notice my responses to it, move forward until I resolve it. And this became a constant cycle and circle for me that's become so much of a part of me. Like anything negative or positive coming my way, it's just my head just goes like, okay, what's going on? What's your response to this? Stop, breathe, notice, reflect, respond, resolve, move forward. Then that became part of my life. I was listening to one of your interviews, and I think I sent a message immediately that you should write a book on deploy your authenticity. And like it said something about discover, develop, and deploy your authenticity. Do you want to take us through that?
Yes, I'm publishing a book, releasing a book this month, Elevated Single Life, Practical Steps to Cultivating a Genuine Relationship. So there is a chapter in that book that deals with authenticity.
Okay.
It's about the journey of self-discovery. Now, when you discover your identity, everything is built on your knowledge of who you are. And one of the biggest crises that we are faced with in the 21st century is identity crisis. People just don't know who they are. And a lot of people think they do, but they don't. And like I said earlier, you have an inside information. And because the journey to self-discovery is a solitary journey. It is a journey that you have to travel alone. Discovering yourself is a solitary journey because you were born an individual. You're going to die an individual. Nobody gets buried together with their twin. You're going to be buried alone. You were born alone. So it is important to kick off that journey of self-discovery, which is solitary. Sometimes when we don't kick it off, we're not deliberate or intentional about it. Life, triggers that journey for us. But many of us resist it. So I always encourage people to allow, don't resist. Allow it. Allow that challenge. Don't resist it. Don't try to fight it. Allow it. It's about to reveal a dimension of yourself to you that you don't
even know.
And during that journey, you now figure out your individuality. And in your individuality, you now discover some things that are authentic to you as an individual. Because it is that authenticity, that genuineness that you bring to the table of relationship, the table of your work, your family, social engagement, anything you're doing. When you bring that authenticity, so it means you discover it first through self-discovery, and then you start developing it. What are the things that are unique to you? Your strength, your passion, your interest. You start sharpening that sword because it's the sword you are going to use in battle. You start building on them, developing them. And then when you are able to do that, then you now start deploying. Don't be afraid to deploy that authenticity because that is your genuine contribution to the human ecosystem. I always talk about, when you talked about Pastor Sam Adeyemi, you can see an authentic man. When you are authentic, when you discover, develop, and you deploy your authenticity, you are okay being unique. You are okay with your uniqueness. So you can see a man who is totally different from a lot of people in his league, but at the same time, he is not in any form of animosity, competition, antagonism with any of his colleagues. So that's when I look at him, I study him a lot. I watch him, I try to pattern some things. I was telling my brother that the system that we are putting in place, because I also attended Daystar Academy back in the day. So I can't forget
Daystar Academy, so I understand.
But he said, I was telling my brother, I was like, do you know that the strategy that I'm putting into Brothers Kitchen Brothers, I copied everything from Daystar. He was like, really? I said, can't you see what I'm doing? If you're a member of Daystar and you're part of the NGO, you will just know that, this guy, he's replicating some of these things, because I've seen a man who is, when you are authentic, you don't try to intimidate people because you are able to accommodate other people's authenticity. You are able to create a conducive environment for other people to be comfortably authentic around you.
Exactly.
then you're ready to collaborate with people regardless your difference. So I noticed Pastor Samadeyemi would talk about his standpoint when it comes to some doctrinal issues, but at the same time, next thing you are seeing him celebrate some people that he doesn't agree with. I was like, oh, this is an authentic human being. So this is why the first thing is to discover it, and then you sharpen it and you build it, and then you are able to deploy it on the table of social interaction, and then you can contribute your unique quota to the human ecosystem.
Yes, there's nothing as beautiful in the journey of wholesomeness, in the journey of whatever that we are trying to all get to find who you are. The other day I was saying to someone, I lost a couple of people this year, and I'm acquainted with grief. I'm acquainted with grief. And I really was just asking questions myself, God, myself, and I was like, what are we supposed to do? And I'm saying this on background of you saying of what you said, to allow. What is supposed to happen between the beginning and the end? And this is what I came up with, is to surrender to the uncertainties that is in between. Sovereignty is crazy. You can never try it. You can't understand what sovereignty is. It's just crazy, because it begins to make sense when you yield to it. It doesn't take away the pain, but when you yield to it, like leaf on water, and it is carrying you. In the last 3-4 months, I started saying to I was sending an SMS. I wake up in the morning, 4 or 5 months now. I wake up in the morning, especially Saturday mornings, and I will bake bread and bake cinnamon rolls, make freshly squeezed juice early in the morning, and it is joy. And I sat down and I said to myself, oh, this is you. You're a homemaker. You're a homemaker. And Femi, trust me, when I settled into that, you're a homemaker, every other thing in my life. I'm an ambitious person. I'm not even going to, how my masculine side is. I'm a goal-getter. But in the last 5 months, I have come to, because I find, even before the 5 months, I know that when I have my family around, I have my children, my family, my husband, my extended family, it just gives me joy. For me, trust me, I'll just cook and I'm not eating. I'll cook and I just watch people eating, and that's joy to me. Why was I fighting that? Ask me. Why was I fighting that? In the last 5 months, just settling into Tumishe, you're a homemaker. There's nothing wrong with you being a homemaker, being ambitious, being this kind of person. But in the core of you, you're a homemaker. Settle into it. And I have been settling into it. Every other thing has come to me with ease. I can't ease. Following. It's so in surrendering to the uncertainties of humanity, of life, of whatever, I think that is where your authenticity will
Exactly.
I still use medication, but accepting certain things about myself and telling myself certain truths.
Acceptance, exactly.
Acknowledging and accepting has eased the pressure, the mental crowd, the mental pressure that goes on in here, that feeds, the hypomanic side, that feeds the depression side. Now, when I accept and stop to breathe to notice what's going on, it is easy for me to understand my triggers and navigate them. Instead of them having me, I am navigating them. It's been wholesome. It's been wholesome.
Awesome. Yeah. It's like gold being refined in the fire.
Yeah.
It's like being refined in the fire. So a lot of people they run from the fire. It's like an orange. To get the juice, you have to squeeze the orange. There's nobody wants to be squeezed, we don't want life to squeeze us, no. But then get the best out of you, you have to go through a process,
Yeah, and then we live forward, we understand backwards. Simply that again, I guess that's where the 2020 and hindsight thing comes from. We live forward, because when that thing is happening, if you don't surrender to it, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to, because mental health questions are huge. It's the reason you will see someone fighting someone you don't know on the road because they not indicate before they took your space. Is the reason why you're honking. There's still 3 cars in front of you by the traffic light. You are angry at someone that you do not know that has not moved. Why? What? It's the reason that you are on the street, and these are the real mental health questions. And it does not mean, it does not mean that that you have to be diagnosed or anything, but just being aware. And for anyone who's read Living Mindfully Mind, but the first story that it did happen is not something that I thought of. It did happen that day. I think I said before the show. That day, my car didn't start, or I was having a fight with my husband, and I decided to go. I can't remember, but I did not. I know that I did not drive to work that day. I was working to work, and just at the Y junction by Coca-Cola, I saw the first man who looked like he was not with the senses, and he hit his leg on the floor, and he just picked his bag and continues. And I see this other person, just as I make the turn to go into the office, I see the other man who is all in suit and all that, and he hits his toe again on the curb. And I'm like, okay.
Oh man.
And it was one of the, I just wrote it down that day. I never knew it was going to turn into a book, but I just wrote it down that day. This was back in 2016. I wrote down, why would someone who looks like they're not okay have a better attitude to an obstacle than someone who really looks okay? Yeah. And I didn't know it was a research for myself, and I like the fact that I had prayed this prayer a long time ago, that if I'm going to share anything with anyone, take me through it. Dangerous prayer to pray. So don't pray it, because now sometimes I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have prayed that, because hey, I've been through hell and high waters, but yet I'm grateful. So awesome. Let me let you round this off. Yeah.
Oh, the matter of authenticity and mental health, in the Nigerian space, these are things that we really don't talk about
at all.
Really don't talk about, And also, I was talking to someone the other time. The weather was very hot, and then he had this loud music, and then I simply asked him and said, how can you enjoy loud music in this kind of weather? And he said, he's used to it. Now waiting they make him the ginger himself. And I thought about it, and I said, if this is actually a case of mental health, where people are okay with disturbing environment, even when the environment is quiet, they want to create a level of chaos. If it is not chaotic and disturbing, it's not normal to them. And because of the way the country has turned to, we have accepted a lot of abnormal as normal. To us, it is a normal thing. But like I said, these things boomerang.
Oh yes, I do.
Interpersonal relationships. That's what happens. Intrapersonal and interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Boomerang. You are either
you either become self-destructive or you are seeking to destroy other people. Because you have opened your gate to chaos and to, disturbance, no peace. There is no level of mindfulness that helps you to take a pause and think about your actions. You're just like a dog on a leash. So it is important for us to pay more attention. Matter of fact, one of the projects that I came up with was to present to the government is something I called Center for Mental Health and Orientation. I think that the Nigerian government, we need to pay particular attention to the mental health of Nigerians. And the government is meant to even make this like, it should be something that we can, put in all the geopolitical zones. Like people should have a place they can go to go and whether it is to vent or to discuss, to get some form of therapy from, a professional or from other people. And this is meant to be for drug addicts, for suicidal people who have any form of depression, people who just want to give up, people who are sad, people who notice some patterns in their life. If we don't do that, we joke about a pandemic. You may start seeing people jump off 4-story building and you wonder what happened. And because we are going to make it more like, it's a spiritual problem, they sent arrow to them from the village. We are getting to that point in Nigeria where if we don't pay particular attention to mental health now as a matter of social policy, what is ahead? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about, yes, of course, we are going to keep shouting this until we get it somewhere into the government, but let's talk about what you were doing in your space to, help these questions.
Thank you very much. There is an NGO founded by me called the Brothers Keeping Brothers Foundation. And the mission of this NGO is to facilitate and encourage various forms of education, orientation, social welfare, and particularly mental health of boys, men, and the women who love them. I have been through crazy mental situations. I have also seen people who have been through situations that were very unbearable, and they had nobody to talk to. A lot of people are gone because of that. In the Nigerian space, when someone commits suicide, we don't even know how the rate of suicide in Nigeria is, because we're not a data compliant society. If something is not trending, it did not happen. That's the way in Nigeria. If it's not trending, it did not happen. And there are several cases of suicide that are happening every day that are not trending. And this data is increasing at an exponential rate. And this is why I believe that one of forward in 2024 is the mental health of boys, of men, and the women who love them. We also engage in exactly mentorship program, community development projects. We've done quite a number of things. But because we're talking about mental health now, it's something that we're really going to focus on. Like I said, this is a project under the umbrella of this organization where we want to ask the government. We have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Let us have structures in place, physical structures in place, bring in some human assets that are professional, they are competent, so that people can have, that just going to a place and discussing with other people could relieve you a bit. We are too focused on the major problem in Nigeria is a mental problem. Our problem, economy is an effect of the cause. Insecurity is the effect of the cause. There's a lot of mental disorientation and mental problems here. And that's why people do some things and you wonder. And that's why the evolution of evil is on the rise. People start by lying, and then the same person ends up killing. Because evil evolves in an environment where there is mental turmoil and people don't know where to go. So the government must put in place, I'm sure that this podcast is also going to spread. It will be like an added advantage to what we are putting out there. 6 geopolitical zones can have physical structures and people in there There are local governments. We have to pay particular attention to this. And that's one of the things that we are doing at Brothers Living Brothers Foundation.
How can they find Brothers Living Brothers? Before I talk about the little one me I'm doing, how can they find Brothers Living Brothers?
Brothers Living Brothers, we are on social media, Brothers Living Brothers Foundation. We also have a website that, the website currently is a temporary website where people can join. Brothers Living Brothers Foundation.org.
Okay, Brothers Living. All that will be in the show notes. So what am I doing? Of course, at my book launch, what I did at the book launch, and I hope that I'll be able to. I don't know if it's going to happen next year, but I'm going to consciously start working. If it doesn't happen next year, then it will happen. So I chose to launch the book on World Bipolar Day, of course, because I'm living bipolar, and of course to bring. And then we had panels, we had doctors come, we had another person, not me, who was leaving with, and we had a conversation. And that. So what we were supposed to launch on that day that we didn't launch is called Wellness Anonymous. So Wellness Anonymous is me giving, of course I'm a life coach, but it's me giving 30 minutes of my time for free to anyone to just sign. If you go to my website, you'll find Wellness Anonymous, just to come talk. Because sometimes it's just talk therapy, just like you said. And because I call it anonymous, because you and I know that the hugest, no one like that, the hugest hurdle or obstacle to mental health questions being discussed is stigma. So it is called Wellness Anonymous because you can't sign in with it. You can't sign in when you sign in. I'm the only person who knows. And then if you don't want to come on camera, fine, don't come on camera. Just come. I'll be here. I'm a certified life coach, personal development. I'm also working to hopefully before the end of this year integrated therapeutic counseling. So what is this? Let me start with Wellness Anonymous and let's see how we can. And then if you're not comfortable, so the way Wellness Anonymous is if you're not comfortable alone, you can come with a friend. Both of you just sign in, and then if you don't want to see my face, fine. If you want to see your face, fine. It is totally anonymous in the sense that it's a safe space, it's a psychological safe space. And how this came to me, after the Israelites came out of Egypt and they were settling into their blah blah blah, the cities of refuge, he told them to have one city, pick up one city, that people will go for refuge until their cases are tried. Someone that mistakenly. So if God created space for mental health safety, for psychological safe space.
Exactly.
So why don't we now create a psychological safe space for us? So that's what Wellness Anonymous is, and you can find that also in the show links. But we are blackimages.com. This has been really fun.
Awesome.
This has been really fun. Thank you so much, Fen. I know you're a very busy person. I know you're putting or finishing touches to the book, and you took this time out. And I'm truly grateful that you honored us. Thank you for honoring me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I look forward to the official release of the book, and I would also make sure that I put in some words on the platform.
Thank you very much for that. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love this country, or your country, wherever you're listening to. Above all of these, love God. He is the essence of your being. Femi, what you want to say? I want you to round it up.
Okay, success is always around you. You just have to always pay attention. So no matter what you're going through, there is a solution around you and in you. So pay attention. Be mindful.
I don't want to say anything. Be mindful. All right. Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.